We're once again joined by Tim Sullivan, CEO of New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Good to see you, Tim.
Hey, Steve. How are you? Great to be here.
Great to be with you. Listen, let's jump right into this. The role of the EDA. Remind folks as we put the website up what the role of the EDA is.
Well, we try to help, create good family-sustaining jobs here in New Jersey. Help direct investment to places like underserved communities where that investment can have the biggest impact. Working on behalf of Governor Murphy to drive job creation.
So let's talk about investing in communities of color. Let's be specific and clear what those programs are, so if people want to access them, they can go to the website.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things we're focused on right now, and this is part of Governor Murphy's budget proposal, is creating a Black and Latino seed fund for early stage companies that want to grow here in New Jersey. Across the country and here in New Jersey, the statistics are depressing and unacceptable. About 1% of all the venture capital in America over the last 20 years has gone to companies founded by either African American or Latino founders. If it's women of color, it's like 0.7%. So Governor Murphy has proposed a $10 million fund just to focus on early stage companies, young companies founded by people of color, by African American and Latino communities, to really help drive a new generation of entrepreneurs' success stories here in New Jersey. That's one example.
What is the New Jersey Emerge program, by the way, Tim?
So New Jersey Emerge is a brand new program. It was part of the incentives package and the recovery and reform package that Governor Murphy signed back in January. This is a tax credit program that will hopefully, I'm confident, will attract lots of companies from all over the world and all over the region who want to make New Jersey their headquarters or a major location.
And by the way, I need to have Tim do this. He does not speak for the administration. He, heads up the EDA. But I do want to ask you this: for those who have argued, and actually Michelle Sikirk, who's on another segment on the show, have argued that the governor, in spite of or in addition to all these programs, has not been sensitive enough to the business community and the needs, particularly small business. From the EDA's perspective, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, I'm happy. I couldn't be prouder and more appreciative of the governor's leadership on every issue during this pandemic. But one of the biggest issues is how he's been supportive of the small business community in particular during this pandemic. He's allocated an extraordinary amount of funding in partnership with legislature, legislative leadership, and Senate President and Speaker. EDA has been responsible for a little bit more than $600 million of grant funding to support small businesses. The number of different programs we stood up has been extraordinary, and I think the governor's done exactly what is in the long-term interest of both the business community and the state at large, which is focus on public health, focus on the data, and the economy can only heal when public health heals.
We're taping this on the 20th of May. It'll be seen later, so we always run the risk of dating ourselves because so many things are happening every day, every minute of every day. The whole question, Tim, about not being able to get in the employees companies need for a whole range of reasons, unemployment insurance being part of it, child care being part of it, education being a part of it, summer employment, the visa situation. It's complex, we know. That's not the specific role of the EDA, but how do you take that into account when you're trying to be so supportive of businesses and some of them say they're struggling to get employees?
Well, I'm optimistic that part of this is a sort of a timing challenge as the economy is kind of opening up all at once here in New Jersey and around the country. A lot of people looking for work at the same time, a lot of companies looking for people at the same time, that's good for employees, for the workers, because that means they're going to have choices. And if that means wages go up a little bit, or hopefully a lot, that's also not a bad thing for the economy or for those workers. So I'm optimistic that's going to sort itself out in relatively quick order as part of a normal recovery. We've never had this kind of, or at least in our lifetime, this kind of economic crisis, which was so rapidly onsetting and is going to end hopefully relatively quickly as well. But there's going to be some transition where it is difficult for folks to find work and find workers.
And Tim, we've known each other for a few years now. You really do sound very optimistic here. Why?
A couple of reasons, Steve, and I am. I think I feel as optimistic about the short-term and long-term future of New Jersey as I ever have. As we come out of this pandemic, again, I think the resources that the governor's made available, both for COVID relief and also that the governor and legislature have put into our recovery package, sometimes known as the incentives package, plus all the support that's coming from Washington. We have an administration and President Biden that is, in lockstep with the big priorities that Governor Murphy has, whether that's clean energy or so many other areas of alignment, infrastructure, big infrastructure investment. There's a generational opportunity here with all this federal money to make big changes in our economy, to really restructure, make it work better for everybody.
Well, let's go back to something you just said. Also, I believe on the same show you're on, the president of the Board of Public Utilities, Joe Fiordaliso, is on. We're involved in a public awareness initiative around clean energy. You mentioned clean energy. What does that have to do with the state's economy?
It has a lot to do with the state's economy, Steve. One of the fastest growing parts of our economy has been clean energy jobs, particularly solar, the last couple of years. Tens of thousands of new jobs created in that industry. The big one that's coming down the pike, and it's getting closer every day, is offshore wind. We think that's another tens of thousands of jobs kind of opportunity all throughout the state, with a pretty heavy focus and concentration in South Jersey, places like Salem County, Cumberland County, Gloucester County, where Burlington County, where there's real need for that kind of job creation and job growth. Extraordinary numbers of jobs around installing and constructing these facilities, going to be all good union jobs, as well as maintenance, operations and maintenance, manufacturing, assembly, and then of course, R&D and all the professional services of the company. It's a brand new industry, and New Jersey is really poised to be the capital of American offshore wind.
Go back to something else real quick in the time we have left. The EDA is actually supportive of an initiative we're involved in around innovation, right? New Jersey being called the innovation state, et cetera. But when it comes to film and television, is it innovative to be expanding and looking to secure? Is that innovation for the EDA and others to look to have more film and television industry activities in the state? Or is that the way it's supposed to be?
Well, I'd say, film, television, and digital media, which is the tax credit program we have. It's all three.
Talk about innovation, that whole new world.
Are in the center of innovation. So, I still watch most of my television and media through the kind of the traditional channels, but a lot of, whether it's YouTube or TikTok or various different platforms, there's so much innovation happening in media.
It's not either or.
Exactly, and we want all of it. We're pretty competitive people, and the governor's leading the charge of being competitive for New Jersey, wanting to, be the East Coast capital of, if not the national capital of film, television, and digital media. And we think with this tax credit program and a significant amount of interest from studios and building big facilities potentially here in New Jersey, we have a shot to be a really strong player there.
Tim Sullivan is the head of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Their website has been up throughout this entire segment. If you want to find out more about what they're doing, that's the place to go. Tim, we thank you for joining us and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. Great seeing you.
You got it. I'm Steve Adubato. That's Tim Sullivan. We thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
When I started working with children with autism over 25 years ago, my mission began. Autism is a multifaceted spectrum condition which challenges our system of standard norms. What autism has taught me is that there is no cookie-cutter child. Our differences ought to be celebrated, not separated. So today, take a moment to say hi or smile at someone who might be a bit different. Acceptance starts with you.
Also brought to you by Holy Name Medical Center. This place is different. Choose New Jersey. IBEW Local 102. Lighting the path, leading the way. The Turrell Fund. Supporting Reimagine Childcare. New Jersey Sharing Network. Summit Health. A provider of primary, specialty, and urgent care. Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. Berkeley College. And by Fedway Associates, Inc.